This is Nick.
This is Jack.
Welcome back. It is Monday, April 3rd, the beginning of a new month, and today's pod is the best one yet.
We got a T-Boy today.
We got a T-Boy, and we got a new quarter. Not too shabby. Jack, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
You ensconce yourself in flannel rompers, as we all expected?
I actually put Wilder on skis for the first time ever. Just put him between my legs. He really didn't have to do any work. We just tried to give him a hot chocolate afterwards.
You didn't build that bassinet, but you got the kid on a double black diamond. Father of the year over here. What's our first story for the pod, man?
For our first story, the price of an Ivy League degree is about to hit $90,000 a year.
Yetis, we are going to hit the $1 million degree in 2056.
Yep. Kids born today, they're looking at $1 million tuition.
For a degree. Second story, what do we got, man?
For our second story, you've heard of the FANG stocks, right?
Yes, the FANG stocks. It stands for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google.
They used to dominate the stock market, but now we have a new thing, the JAM stocks.
The JAM stocks. It stands for just Apple and Microsoft.
For our third and final story, we're looking at Pepsi. Pepsi just rebranded for the first time in 14 years.
Because being number 2 forever is the best place to be.
Ricky Bobby
Yeah.
hates everything you just said. But Yetis, before we hit that fantastic mix,
A wonderful mix to come back to a weekend from, man. I love this mix.
Porter's Almanac Week 159.
Things we're running out of in the economy. Jack and I have been keeping track.
This week, we're running out of funds for the Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy Fund has almost run out because the price per tooth is at an all-time high.
Get this, Yetis. The average Tooth Fairy payout per tooth is up. It's way up.
Oh, Jack, we're looking at a situation of Tooth Fairy inflation, man.
Let me back you up 20 years. When I lost a tooth, I got $1 under my pillow the next morning.
Jack, when I lost a tooth, I got a $2 pre-charged Metro card.
Last year, the kids were getting $5.36 per teeth.
I'm sorry, Jack, where are tooth prices this year?
$6.23 per tooth.
Yetis, let's sprinkle on some context here. That is a 400% rise from the 1990s when Jack and I lost a few incisors.
In fact, the average price paid for a first tooth right now,
$7 for your first lost tooth.
that molar is your moneymaker.
Jack, that canine is crushing cash.
Honestly, your wisdom teeth, wisest investment you've ever made.
Yetis, go. Stop the pod. Get a retainer. Protect those assets.
Honest question though, what are kids doing these days? Putting QR codes under their pillow?
My Venmo is at Little Johnny.
Yetis, if tooth prices keep rising, the Tooth Fairy will need a bailout.
Forget Silicon Valley Bank. Someone's going to have to rescue the Tooth Fairy.
Didn't you lose 2 adult front teeth when you were 18 and my freshman year roommate?
Jack, I got 2 front teeth knocked out in a college lacrosse game, and I didn't get paid.
All you got was the hospital bill.
Jack, let's hit our free story.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, as Ivy League tuition closes in on $90,000 a year, Americans are turning sour on the 4-year degree.
But there is no more deceiving sticker price than college tuition.
Oh, if you're going to bring up sticker prices, man, are you ready for the latest sticker price? Can we talk about this?
The cost of attendance for 1 year at Yale University, like an 18-year-old kid enrolling as a freshman.
To be an Eli at Yale.
An Eli?
That's what their team name is.
I didn't know that.
Or like the nickname for their team names.
$84,000.
$84,000.
That's not a shock. That's a electrocution.
To get a piece of paper that says Yale University bachelor degree, Jack, what is the price going to be after 4 years?
$336,000.
Oh, and by the way, Brown University is actually $1,000 more per year. Jack, I don't remember the food being that good.
But Nick, that's not even the whole price for the degree, because you must include the opportunity cost.
Because instead of spending that time at Yale, you could have been working for those 4 years, right, Jack?
If you add in 4 years of lost income that you could have made during those 4 years, That brings the price of a college degree at Yale to $500,000.
$500,000 when you factor in the opportunity cost.
And don't even talk about an MBA degree.
No, Jack. You start a job in consulting, you are a negative millionaire over at McKinsey.
Now, if the Ivy League tuition growth rate continues at this pace, we're going to hit the $1 million 4-year degree in 23 years.
We calculated that if this pace continues, the Ivy League class of 2056 will pay $1 million for a 4-year degree.
So if we hold Brooks back a year to try to become like a pro hockey player or something, that's going to be his class.
It is. If you think this isn't far away, your kids are going to be paying this price.
By the way, wild timing that the price of a 4-year college degree is hitting an all-time high.
Right, because the excitement for a 4-year degree just hit an all-time low.
For the first time ever, a majority of Americans don't believe in the value of a 4-year college degree. They don't believe it's worth all that money.
According to a Wall Street Journal University of Chicago poll, 56% of America does not think that late-night parties at Sig Ep are worth the forever student loan payments.
56% of us don't think that unlimited late-night pizza at Ross Dining Hall ensconced in sweatpants is worth the bill you get at graduation.
Although I gotta say, Jack, we had some fantastic late-night pizza meals together, and I think it was worth every single penny.
Well, the memories were priceless.
The memories led to these takeaways. But Yetis, besides student debt, there's actually another key driver of the negative opinion of 4-year degrees.
It's that only 2 out of 3 students end up graduating today.
Yeah, so taking on debt without getting a degree, it's kind of the worst of both worlds. So John Kellen Kramer, can you please approach the stand and tell us what's the takeaway for our buddies in the education system?
With honors. For highly selective schools, only the wealthy pay the sticker price.
Yetis, there is no industry with a sticker price gap quite like the American college industry.
Especially for highly selective schools in America, the price that's advertised is very different than the price that's actually paid by most students.
Vanguard looked at the 2019 school year and noticed that the median sticker price for a highly selective private university was $74,000.
That's a lot of money, but the median price actually paid at that same university was only $27,000.
Okay, the high price was $74,000, but the average price was only $27,000.
Ipso facto, the typical student paid 64% less than the sticker price at that private university.
And what's the reason for that, Jack?
Setting a very high tuition price means they can take as much revenue from wealthy families and foreign students as they possibly can.
But then here's the key. They offer less wealthy families big scholarships, financial aid, and loans.
Now, we should point out the gap is not as high for less selective schools, which is where most of the student debt is coming from.
But at super selective schools, the higher tuition prices paid by wealthy students subsidize lower prices for the typical student.
That's why there's no industry with a sticker price gap quite like higher education.
For our second story, we just finished the first quarter, and there is one word that Jack and I just can't get out of our minds.
Jam.
Jam. Like, not raspberry jam, not strawberry jam, not even apricot jam. Or is it apricot?
Jam. J-A-M. Just Apple and Microsoft.
Jam. Just Apple and Microsoft.
First, Eddies, everyone is still talking about the tech session because every tech company is still laying people off right now.
But Jack and I got to step back and sprinkle on some interesting context here.
Stocks overall are surprisingly up this year by 7%.
The tech industry stocks overall are up a shocking 17%.
If you look at the tech-heavy NASDAQ stock index, it just entered bull market territory.
I mean, Jack, I just whipped out a whiteboard here. 20% stock rally over in the NASDAQ. Thanks to Jam.
Yetis, in the last 10 years, the big tech stocks that were driving the stock market, it was FANG.
It was FANG. That was the term everyone was talking about. FANG this.
F-A-A-N-G.
FANG that. It stands for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google.
Those were the big tech companies. Their big momentum drove the stock market.
But Jack and I were talking over the weekend. We were looking at the stock market and we said, you know what? We have entered a brand new era.
FANG is over. Now, it's Jam.
Jam. Yetis, Jam stands for Just Apple and Microsoft.
J-A-M, because Apple and Microsoft are the only big tech stocks the only stocks that matter right now.
Yetis, the S&P 500 stock index captures the 500 biggest stocks in America.
And it's weighted by market cap. And guess what? Apple and Microsoft have never carried more weight on that index than right now.
What we're saying is that Apple and Microsoft now control a record 15% of the S&P 500's value. 15% of the stock market's value.
If Apple and Microsoft are up, there's a good chance the S&P 500 is up too.
Another way we can think about this, Yetis, 1 out of $7 in the U.S. stock market right now, it's in either Apple or it's in Microsoft.
Now, let's look for a second at the other former FANG stocks.
Well, Jack, I'm looking at Amazon, I'm looking at Netflix, and I'm looking at Meta, formerly Facebook.
Their stocks are at the same level they were 3 years ago.
On the other hand, Apple and Microsoft stocks are almost at all-time highs.
Jam. It's just Apple and Microsoft right now.
And here's how they did it. Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Apple and Microsoft?
Apple and Microsoft have been first and focused.
First and focused. Yetis, when AI hit the scene this year and got so much attention, Microsoft moved first.
Microsoft invested $10 billion into ChatGPT back in January, and now it's leading the artificial intelligence movement.
On the other hand, Apple didn't focus on being first. Apple focused on staying focused.
Yeah, Apple didn't overhire during the pandemic like every other tech company, so it didn't have to engage in layoffs this year.
Apple focused on doing what it does best. Apple focused on premium consumer tech products.
So the stock market today, it's not driven by FANG, it's driven by jam.
Just Apple and Microsoft.
Because Apple was focused and Microsoft was first. And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
In the future, you may wear pants on your head and shirts on your feet.
We don't know what future you will dress like.
But we do know that future you will be happier if present you prepared for retirement.
Future you would be really happy to wake up 40 years from now with a loaded IRA.
Although no one knows how investments will perform, an IRA offered by Robinhood is like giving future you a gift from yourself.
Because Robinhood matches 1% of every eligible dollar you contribute to future you.
It's the only IRA that does that every year. Limitations apply.
To get started, go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and get your first stock for free. Conditions apply.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY.
All investments involve risk. Contributions to and withdrawals from IRAs may entail tax consequences. Robinhood does not provide tax advice.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. For our third and final story, for the first time in 15 years, Pepsi just rebranded.
And Pepsi's brand new logo reveals the glory of being second.
But Jack, if we're going to hit this story, can I first interest you in a can of Brad's drink? Would you like a Brad's drink? How do you like your Brad's drink, Jack? Do you like it
Flat.
shaken, stirred, lemon, lime?
With an umbrella in it, Nick.
There is a soda that was once named Brad's drink, Yetis.
That's right. Back in 1893, the hot new drink in town was Brad's drink.
Yetis, back in the 1800s, you would go on a first date and you would chug some Brad.
Well, 5 years later, Brad made a wise decision. He renamed his drink to Pepsi.
And over the next 125 years, Pepsi has had 6 different logos in its life.
Well, last week, they showed us lucky number 7.
Yeah, Pepsi just opened up a can of makeover.
We should point out, Nick and I hated Pepsi's most recent logo.
We really did. Like, we don't typically get offended like this, but we just really didn't like it.
Yeah, we're cracking open a can of Pepsi to celebrate this funeral.
The Pepsi logo for the last decade, it was like loopy, a USA colored Pokemon ball. It was brutal.
There were no words, and it was very corporate.
Well, Pepsi finally just did a 180.
They brought back the all caps Pepsi, surrounded by that circle and a new black color that pops out at you.
When you look at this new Pepsi logo, it feels like the can is it's trying to give you a chest bump. It's pretty intense.
But we also have to mention that nostalgia never dies, and Pepsi knows that.
Nostalgia never dies.
We have smelled this logo before because it's very similar to the 1980s Pepsi logo.
Yetis, if you've seen Ghostbusters or Footloose or Andre the Giant, then you have seen this new can of Pepsi.
Yes, Pepsi went back to the 80s time capsule. They grabbed the logo that your mom saw after Jazzercise with Jane Fonda.
Yeah, and you know what? Pepsi is not the only one doing this.
Yeah, the cool new thing in branding right now is nostalgia rebrands.
Yeah, Jack, Warner Brothers just returned to their 1920s logo too.
Burger King returned to their 1960s logo recently.
Because besties, in a world of pandemics and Ukraine warfare and climate change, you are craving comfort.
And a nostalgic logo, that's like an aesthetic hug.
True to its roots, corporate comfort food.
Except minus the Brad.
No, Brad. Hold the Brad. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Pepsi?
Pepsi's greatest advantage right now is that it's number 2. Forever.
Yetis, let's jump into the numbers. Coca-Cola is number 1 in the soft drink industry. It's got 46% of the market.
Pepsi's number 2. It's got just 26% of the soda market.
Pepsi's been behind Coke forever, but that lets Pepsi be more aggressive.
In just the past year, Nick and I looked into it. Pepsi has launched a mango-flavored Pepsi, Cracker Jack-flavored Pepsi, and a Peeps-flavored Pepsi.
Oh, and there's that blue-colored Pepsi.
Dabba-dee-dabba-die. If I were green, I would die.
Pepsi even created a spa kit, so you have a moisturizer based on Pepsi soda carbonation.
And Pepsi just did its 6th rebrand, while Coke has had the same font and color scheme since 1926.
Because Coca-Cola has the burden of being number 1.
Coke's not keen to take a risk. They're worried about losing their top dog status.
But Pepsi is liberated as the forever number 2.
They've got less to lose. They're always going bolder.
It's like an underdog in the Final Four. Pepsi can pull out all the stops.
Coca-Cola sticks to the game plan. It's tried and true, but it can feel kind of boring.
So yes, Coca-Cola is number 1 in soda sales.
But Pepsi is number 1 in relevance.
Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us to kick off the week?
Just as the price of a 4-year college degree hits an all-time high, our opinions of that 4-year degree have hit an all-time low.
But for highly selective schools, only the wealthy pay the sticker price.
For our second story, just Apple and Microsoft account for 15% of the S&P 500 right now.
Jam. Their value grew when others didn't because they were first and they were focused.
And our third and final story is Pepsi. They just rebranded their logo and cans. They smell like their 80s logo.
Pepsi's greatest advantage is honestly just being number 2 forever.
If they succeed too much, they'll lose.
Minus the Brad. Now time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Tyler Perlmutter in lovely Highland Park, Illinois.
Boeing, America's one and only mega jetliner company, built the largest factory on Earth in Everett, Washington.
In fact, Yetis, this plane factory is actually the largest building on planet Earth.
It's so big, you could fit 13 MetLife stadiums where the New York Giants play just inside this building.
It is so big, they keep 13,000 bicycles inside so the 10,000 workers can actually get around the place.
Nick, it's so big that it developed its own weather systems. Clouds were forming up by the ceiling. They had to install ventilation to prevent it from raining inside.
We've got a system coming in from the snack room area to the north.
Let's hope the jet stream doesn't come from the bathroom.
Oh, it already did. Yetis, you look fantastic to kick off the week. And if you haven't yet, you should follow us at TBoyPod on Instagram and Twitter.
We serve up T-Boy teasers every day, letting you know what's in the pot.
Get a little preview of what's in the best one yet.
A little razzle-dazzle, a little sprinkle-dinkle.
If you know, you know. And before we go, congratulations to Yeti Miles Mabry, who just got a 5 out of 5 on the T-Boy Weekly Pop Biz Pop Quiz.
And happy 5-year anniversary to Nicola and Asia celebrating in London.
And Alberto Cobain was already a dog grandpa, but now he is becoming a human grandpa.
Not too shabby. And happy 35th birthday to Jenny Gallagher under the cherry trees of Osaka, Japan.
And Emily Mullins, enjoy that birthday in Wichita, Kansas.
And happy 12th birthday to Dominic Fowler in Winchester, California.
And Olivia Namaste Kraus, happy birthday in Bow, New Hampshire.
And happy birthday to Radical Ditka Rachel in Dallas, Texas.
And Charlotte Householder, happy 14th birthday on the way to school right now with your dad. Celebrate that win.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon and Netflix, and Nick and I both own stock of Apple and Robinhood. And we both own ETFs of the S&P 500. And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
Is there anything more stressful than a buffet? You got the chicken or the fish, the salad or the salsa?
You're paralyzed over potatoes versus pork.
Well, when you're saving for retirement, you may feel that decision fatigue too.
Which stocks or ETFs do you invest in for your IRA?
Well, with Robinhood, you can get a personalized recommended portfolio. You can pick your own stocks or ETFs, or you can do a bit of both.
You can do their recommended burrito bowl, or pick a little bit of everything.
And customizing your retirement portfolio is commission-free.
Other fees may apply. To get started, go to Robinhood.com/tboy and get your first stock free.
Conditions apply, and recommended portfolios are not available to residents of Massachusetts.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOI.
All investments involve risk. Contributions to and withdrawals from IRAs may entail tax consequences. Robinhood does not provide tax advice.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. A little razzle dazzle, a little sprinkle dinkle.